name is Miranda, and today I am here to discuss the premiere episode of Misfits and Magic. It is funny, I mean, I'm not the first to say it, and I won't be the last, but that Critical Role and Dimension 20 both are doing kind of these mini campaigns where for the first time in Dimension 20 history and for the first time I think in Critical Role too with like a longer series, usually it's just one shots when someone else DMs, but they're having someone else DM, and that someone just happens to be in both cases Abria, who is, I have only ever known her from the Pirates of Leviathan, but I didn't actually watch that whole thing. But I know she's amazing and she's fabulous, and I saw the Critical Role DMing that she did last week and it was amazing and fabulous, and I was super excited to see what she would bring to this new series. So they started right at the beginning. It's not actually 5e D&D, it's Kids on Brooms, I think is what it was called, which I've never heard of, but it makes more sense for like the magic-y kind of stuff they're doing, you know? It just also makes it harder because I know like she did a very good job of explaining it, but I feel like I finally like with D&D, like I know the rules, you know? So if someone's like, okay, that's gonna be like you have to hit a 25, I'm like, it's pretty hard. I feel like with this, I have no idea because it seems like 5 is the level of like doable, and then 10 is like mid-range, which I guess makes sense. As I'm saying this, I'm like, it makes sense, but then like a 15 seems hard. But that's fine. I like when they do different things and have different skill checks. I think those are really fun. Actually, one of my favorite one-shots ever from Critical Role was when they did the raccoon one, and that had completely different stats, and Sam was just flying by the seat of his pants, and it turned out so wonderful and so amazing. Getting into the characters, I obviously know Lou, I know Brennan, I know Erica, Ishii, a queen. The only one I didn't know was Danielle, but I feel like she fits in very well, and her character is so funny and so just, she just nails the influencer thing. Like when she was talking about a mukbang and Lou and Brennan had no idea what that was. I have such a hard time believing Brennan, who has like a fountain of knowledge, knows so much about birds and philosophy and just like all this like random stuff, does not know what a mukbang is. Like I find it so hard to believe. Like that was the shocker of the night for me. But their characters, yeah, are really cute. So first we met Lou's character, who I adore. I think he's so funny, and I always love Lou's characters because they're always so different. You know, like Kingston is so different from Fabian, who is so different from this character, and I just really like the idea of, I like the idea anyway for all four of them about how they're just like these regular American kids. I mean, aside from Dream, who kind of was like expecting her letter, but like they don't have magic. Nothing magical has happened in their life aside from, you know, when this owl shows up. So I like the idea that like, you know, it's not like a Harry Potter where like things have been going weird, at least that we know so far, where like things have been going weird like around them where it's like, oh, they have magic. It seems like no, they literally like have to learn it. Which then begs the question, does everyone have the propensity for magic, and it's just if you get the chance to train and learn and get a wand? Like, I think Danielle brought the idea up when she first did the thing with her wand, and everyone was like, oh, you did a really good job. She was like, well, is it me or is it the wand? Like, can anyone just, if you get a wand in their hand, like, do it? So I think that opens up a lot of questions that I have about this world, and I know kind of their exploration of it clearly is going to be about how this wizarding world isn't as great as it seems and is actually kind of prejudiced and exclusive and not a great like thing to be in. So I feel like that's kind of gonna be, you know, because if anyone can be a wizard, that makes it less special, okay? I'm just gonna say it, like, you can't be like, oh, I'm a wizard, if like I can just go and get a wand if I get invited to this world and be a wizard. Like, that makes you so much less interesting, and like, you don't get to be up on your high horse just because you have a wand, my dude. I also love that the wands, like, because it's like a classic Harry Potter thing, you know, you go, the wand chooses you. It's like such a big ordeal. And for them, like, even Dream was like, oh my gosh, like, it's gonna be like a wand is gonna choose us. It's so exciting. I like that, like, they just like went in the shop, had no memory of it, and then all just got the same wand. And I like the idea too of the wand changing though, like the more spells you do. But it is interesting. I think Lou brought it up where he was like, I wonder if the wand will stay or if it changes depending on the spells you use, because I feel like poor Dream. Dream is literally, I love that her whole thing is like, she's so dark and she's so mysterious and she wants like all this like, you know, snakes, and she's got just two greatly supportive parents, like amazing, but then her wand is super pink and sparkly, and her familiar is this cute little chipmunk that talks, and just the way it's like affecting her, and how she's like, no, 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 this can't be happening. It's just, Erica plays it so, so good. And I love that scene. And then in particular, too, when we found out about Evan, how he's got like this darkness to him. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. And was just like so attracted to him. And he was like, no, you have to understand, this is not a fun thing. And I feel like she did actually have a good point, though, where she was like, you know, you're afraid of this thing because it's pushed people away your whole life. But like, you're here where you can finally maybe learn to get it under control, and like, we're here, we're not leaving you. And I think that was like, the found family is already jumping out to me, guys. But we gotta talk about Evan. Evan, literally, first of all, when they describe him as like Adam Driver, where you're not sure if he's hot or just like really scary looking, I was like, yes, I'm here for this. And I feel like the way Brennan plays him is just like, I was sitting there like, who does this remind me of? Who? Brennan has played a character that has this like infliction and this mannerisms before. Who is it? And then it hit me. It's Zelda from Fantasy High. Like, that is literally how she talks about, just like, she'll just be like, so yeah, I just like super like shy and like, you know, nervous. But then just says like like has the darkest stuff going on, where you're just like, oh my, like, remember when we found out Zelda was like a barbarian and came from like a family of like party raiders, and you were like, what? Like, I feel like that's Evan, just like his whole like mannerisms and how he's just like, yeah, this just happens. And I love Evan. I love Evan, and I already love the bond he has with Lou's character, because I think they're so funny, and how he was like protecting him. Lou's character in general is just like clearly like, I feel like along with Dream, the leaders kind of were like, well, no, I think like Lou is like the glue, like, because he's like, you know, used to being on a team and stuff like that. So I feel like he is like, you know, looking out for everyone, but his bond in particular with Evan is really sweet. And when Sam saw it, was really funny when she was like, oh, there was a thing like connecting you. I wonder what that's gonna be too. There's just so many like instances and questions I have about this world. Like, why them? You know, why these four? Because it seems like no one knew about Evan's darkness curse thing before he got there, because the headmistress like put those glasses on and was like, ooh, we gotta get that checked out. But then I'm like, I love Evan, and I feel really bad, like, just the way he was so excited. He kept being like, this is the best day I ever had, like, wrapping up his wand so, like, he couldn't use it and stuff, and just being so, so excited. And then just, like, when all the familiars, like, ran away from him, all the animals, and he was just like, I'm sorry, like, I didn't mean to do it. Like, it just made me so sad, because, like, if this is, like, an origin for, like, a bad wizard, like, I don't want him to be bad, you know? Like, we've seen, it's interesting, though, because we have seen where, like, we've gotten the hints about the shadow. But then the lady was like, oh, it's fed right now. Like, it's not that, like, it's good. But from the way Evan tells it, like, it comes out at sometimes and then can, like, attack things. And probably did attack that owl when it went to visit him. But then, is the shadow the part of Evan too? Remember, like, he gets upset and will, like, scream and, like, be like, don't call me that or something like that. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like, is that the shadow or is that Evan? Like, it's just, it's hard to differentiate between the two. But Evan just seems like such a sweetheart. Like, oh my gosh. And just the way I felt so bad when Dream was like, you're so sad. And he was like, and just like started crying. And Lou was like, we don't say it. Like, you can't, like, it's just, and I think even Sam was like, it's a thing, like, you think, but like, you don't say. And I just feel so, but every time like something weird would happen, I would be like, what the fuck is up with Evan? Like, it was just so, like, when they introduced his character, they even said like haunted, and I was like, oh, they must just mean like, you know how like people look haunted. No, the dude's actually haunted. So it was just a very, very interesting beginning. I mean, like they said, it was a lot of setup, so there, but I loved it. Like, I loved shopping. I loved that, like, they each got to find their little familiars, and how when the pig, the way they described the little baby pig, like, parkouring over to get to her, I was in love. And I also love the idea of, like, and I feel like the characters themselves are kind of, like, into this, of, like, what do and don't the wizard world know? They don't know what a radio is. They don't know what McDonald's is, which, like, yeah, to a point, but then, like, they don't know what sports are. So it's, like, how do you exist in this world, but, like, don't know? Like, I'm wondering if there's, like, some memory issue thing going on. I just know there's obviously, like, a lot darker, and I don't think the whole, like, oh, we want to get Americans here to, like, you know, be more open to other people coming here and, like, you know, stuff like that. I don't think that. I think that's a load of bull. I think there's a darker hidden meaning, and I would be very surprised if not the headmistress, but maybe someone else planning behind the things doesn't know about Evan. Like, you don't happen to choose the one kid that has a curse on him in all of America. Like, that's not a thing that just accidentally happens. So I'm very suspicious of all that. Very suspicious of all the wizards. I also, side note, love that muggle is a bad word there, and, like, the characters just just keep saying it, and then Bria will be like, a lady just fainted. Like, people are just like walking by like, you can't say that. Like, it's just so funny. So I really liked it. I think it was a really good intro to all the characters, and I think they already have really good dynamics between all of them, and it's awesome to see them playing and in the dome again, and I just think it's so fun and different, and I really like if they're gonna, yeah, take down kind of the like aspects of Harry Potter that aren't great, considering, you know, the author is not a great person at all. If they're gonna like look back now and be like, oh yeah, this is effed up and we're gonna show you why and how. I really like that. So yeah, if you have seen the episode, please feel free to leave your thoughts about it down in the comments. Also make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!